Hello, I'm Manny with the Student Music Network, and I am joined by the one and only Yxngxr1, aka
Hello.
PhD. How are you feeling today?
Oh man, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We've already established that the energy is flowing
Yeah,
from
huh?
the get-go. We had to cut our conversation short before jumping into this because we were just like, okay, we'll save it for the interview. How are you feeling today?
Do you know what? I'm feeling good. It's like, was it the 8th today? So we're about to go on tour in 3 days
Yeah.
with Glaive, which is super, super fun. Yeah, I'm really excited. Then I'm going to Germany, then in November, no, in early December, and then out to America for Christmas. So I'm like, this next couple months is gonna be so hectic. And as well, I haven't done my taxes. So
Oh God,
so
I'm that.
So whatever happens, so it's gonna be a hell of a ride.
That is very, very exciting times coming towards the end of
Yeah.
the year, but you are packed, you are busy, and we love that. And of course, the album recently coming out. We just touched on the fact that for me, how I described it, Matt Maltese lyrics, Remy Wolf production, that's what it felt like when I first listened to it. That's the kind of energy I was getting. But I wanted to, get your side of it. What were the main inspirations going into this particular record?
It kind of changed whenever I'm writing like projects. I usually go through big phases of like, oh, I want to do something that sounds like, I don't know, like a feeling or like someone else's music or like a feeling that I felt from someone else. It's like I think at that time, the two artists that I was listening to mainly, or three actually, were Mac DeMarco, Oasis, and the Beatles. So I had this like mesh of like I want to make something that sounds really old, but with like a bunch of chorus and like delays and like reverbs. And the first song, the title track, Front Porch, was kind of very much based on how I thought the Beatles would sound if they were the 60s Beatles or like, but in this present day. So like it was really fun writing it. What did you think of it when you first heard it?
I definitely think it was, for me, my favorite album of yours. And you said, the title track that was going to tie directly into the next question. I feel like you always nail this kind of movie soundtrack vibe. I feel like you've done that throughout your career. The intro to this one is such a like opening credits. I remember listening to it and just feeling like visuals were flowing through my head already. Was that something you were definitely going for, like intro to credits of like a movie?
100%. Yeah. Do you know what it was? Yeah. I remember the guy who produced that is called Joe Turner. Incredible. And he's a lovely person. Like we just clicked straight away. We had like a 5 hour slot in his studio. We spent the first 4 hours working on another beat. And then we spent the last hour making the beat that I remember just kind of thinking like this is definitely going to be on the album. Wherever it is, it's going to be on there. It was maybe that little bit at the end where it's like front porch, and it's kind of like, and it just cuts. Do you know what I mean? And it's obviously you lead into the bass line of the next song, but like I was like, oh, this is like, okay, this is gonna be track number one.
And I also saw, on a tangent here, you became the first artist ever. So congrats for that, by the
I
way.
did, yeah,
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, I actually did. So we're doing some rehearsing for this for the Glaive tour. The album was coming out. I was with George Moore and I was like making a bunch of these memes, and that was the only one that like managed to make the final cut,
And I love
honestly.
it. I feel like you add so much personality. It was naturally something that made me and like you even more.
Hell yeah. I was very much raised on meme culture. I was really proud of that meme, I'm not gonna lie.
I was so confused this one time when obviously you would put on your story, comment that this album's absolutely awful, comment that you hate the album, this is a dreadful album. I hadn't seen the story yet, and
Yeah.
I should have known. I should have known based on what you do with your promo. But I'm scrolling through and I just see like everyone just trashing this album. And I'm like, what?
It's another big shout out to the Discord actually. Anytime that I'm about to post, I always post it in the Discord saying like, oh, 2 minutes until I'm gonna post. This is the comment. So like instantly when we post is like you post it and then I'll check the comments straight away. And then there's already like 10 or 15 comments that are like saying whatever. Like I remember the last one we did was Tyler. Just like 100 odd comments just saying Tyler. And I bet people are probably like, thing is, I always think to myself, I'm like, oh, I bet people think that I'm like botting comments or whatever. But it's literally just people from Discord just coming over.
I wanted to talk about something that stands out to me the most. Do you find it kind of easier to write about the simple yet significant moments in your life, or is that something that you struggle with because it's so raw and so vulnerable?
I think it's kind of easy to write about that kind of stuff now, is because now I'm like definitely growing up. The childish thoughts that I had back in 2019, 2020, they've like all vanished. I think it's melted coffee where it's like there's no use in wondering what might have happened instead. You look too far into the future, you'll yourself scared. I love that, like that line. Whenever I say about, oh yeah, like I'm not that young, blah blah, there's always someone who's like a year older than me going, you think you're still young, you're 25, you're blah blah. But it's like, well, no. When I started making music, I was 19, and now I'm 25. I've been doing this for like just almost 6 years. Everything's changed so much for me to kind of still be like, I was on your MySpace looking at our time change. Oh, I'm just your internet boy. I'm just your. It's like that wouldn't be me. Do you know what I mean? So like writing this album felt way more easy and personal to do. It's like a ping pong tennis match in my head right now, where I'm like, oh yeah, like talking about how I'm 25, then me going, you're only 25. You know, I remember telling everyone like on Discord, I was like, just to let you know, like I was like, you're all gonna hate this album. Like anyone who's like less than like maybe like or younger than 23 or 22, like you're probably not gonna like this album until you get a bit older. Some of the stuff, yeah, that is on this album is like sad masked in like happy beats. Even Budapest, like that song, when you listen to it for the first time, it's like, oh, I'll go to Budapest, oh my god, like such a like, but then the actual meaning behind that song when I was writing about it was literally, I need to find another way back home again. That whole song to me is like super sad, but then it's this happy like chorusy type beat. It's like I don't know.
That is, I think, really interesting because there's a lot of artists that do that, and it's always a funny meme when it's like, me dancing to this, and then when you actually look at the lyrics, it's like, oh. And you touched on Budapest. I was just going to mention the fact that obviously that was the single that you decided to release. Was there any particular reason why you wanted that one to be the teaser to the album?
Other than I really, really loved the song, and everyone who I showed the song to, I was really debating. I was like, do I want to put out a song that would fit a moment, or do I want to put out a song that I feel like people would like more? Budapest is just the better song, in my opinion. Obviously, in my most humblest opinion.
I feel like it kind of reminded me. I don't know if this will be a compliment to you or an insult. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out. It kind of gave me Declan McKenna's Brazil. It had like a similar sounding vibe when I was listening to it. I was
Yeah,
sure.
it's the riff that's on there. It's like a mixture of Declan McKenna and, like I was saying before, Mac DeMarco. At that time, I was listening to the Brazil melody quite a lot. So I guess subconsciously we must have been like, oh, maybe make it sound more like this. By the time the song was finished, I was like, I couldn't even hear the riff in the end. So I was like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. We have a brand new song. And I was on Discord the other day, and some kid in there was like, it's like you've just ripped Declan McKenna's riff, and I was like, no, I haven't. He's like, yeah, you have. And I was listening to it, I was like, oh yeah, nah, like it sounds really similar.
I feel like you've kind of given it a new life. Like it feels like it's kind of got a tone change, and obviously the whole vibe of the song is completely different as well. I was gonna touch on, obviously you mentioned all the older albums, and Childhood Dreams was the first one on the label. How do you feel like you've grown since that debut project?
I think those the other than the one that we just released, the Where Has Everyone Gone, every other project that came after Childhood Dreams, I was always comparing it to Childhood Dreams. That was the first project that did really, really well. Whereas on this one, I just told people don't expect anything other than its own thing, because that's what it is. If you go into it expecting it's going to be Childhood Dreams and it sounds nothing like it, yeah, I don't want to write the same old album over and over again, expecting something different to happen. Because people then will just start calling me like, oh, I One Trick Pony, or like everything sounds the exact same. It's like I want to try and with different or I want to experiment with different sounds over different projects, because like why would I just want to do the same old stuff? If I was still writing Childhood Dreams to this day now, people would be like, oh, this is the most boring guy ever. The album's still out. It's still there. You're stressing about this time right now, you know.
No, it's fine. It's fine. No, I'll have to respond to that. I'll remember it in my head.
I'll finish it. I'll